Hello everyone, in this video I am going to teach you how you can get started using NestJS in your project. So NestJS is one of the amazing framework available out there for Node.js using which we can build backend API related applications. We can use any kind of database which we want for building this particular backend application. If you already used something like Laravel or Django, it's similar to that but for Node.js. So now you might ask like why I have to use NestJS instead of using directly Express or Node.js. Simple answer to this is NestJS makes everything easy in order to code, as well as if your application grows very big, still it will be able to handle all the things properly and everything is structured and everything is neat and amazing. So that's why I recommend using NestJS for Node.js related applications for building backend API. And I have done lots of videos where I explain like all the benefits and why you need to use NestJS and all. So you can check it out if you want. But in this video, I'm going to teach you directly how you can get started using NestJS. So without delay, let's go into desktop and we'll see how we can get started using NestJS. First, we have to go to nestjs.com. It's the website where everything related to NestJS will be available, all the documentation and source code if you want. So this is very nice website. It explains all the features and all the amazing things which NestJS can do, and we will see about the documentation in a while. But first we need to install something called as Node.js. So Node.js is really important, and if you don't have it already in your system, just go ahead and download it. Once you have downloaded it, you will be able to run some command like npm dash version, and you'll be able to see the result to it. And you can also do something like node dash version for seeing Node.js version also. I am little bit behind in terms of version, so you don't have to worry. You can download the latest LTS version. So then we can go ahead to NestJS documentation. Before that, we need to have another tool named Postman. Just search Postman in the Google and you can download the Postman, and you'll get it for Windows or MacBook or Linux, whatever the operating system you have. And once you have downloaded it, we'll use it later. But first, now we'll go to documentation of NestJS, and everything related to NestJS you can see in this particular documentation. This is one of the really cool documentation which I have seen, and you can read whatever you want to read here. It's a really good documentation and it explains each and everything, like what is their philosophy. But we need to see how we can install this particular thing. So in order to install, you just need to copy this command or just type it in your terminal. And once you go here and once I'll just copy paste it. It's very simple command, npm I -g at nestjs/cli. So once you have done and click enter, it will go ahead and it will install all the required tools for NestJS CLI. Once it's done, then we can create a new NestJS project. So creating NestJS project is also very easy. Nest new project name. So you have to go to some folder in your laptop, and I have created new folder named NestJS, and here we can right click and open in terminal. And once we have opened in terminal, you can see it properly that there is Nest folder, and I'll just create a Nest new hello world. You can name your project anything you want. I just kept it as hello world, simple project name. So it will ask which package manager would you like to use. I usually select yarn, but for this video sake, I'll just keep npm so that you can use it. So I'll just click on npm and it will create application, and within a few seconds it will be ready with this particular application. Also, you need to have something like VS Code in order to edit the code files and all. So just go ahead to VS Code and you will be able to download it for Windows. And once you have downloaded it, you will be able to use it. So using VS Code is nothing big deal. Just install it. After that, you can directly click on VS Code and it will open up the code editor for you. And we can go ahead and drag this particular folder into here. Now you can see this NestJS folder has been created, and also if you go here, the installation still is in the progress. So I'll just wait for this particular installation to get over so that we can get started using NestJS. So the installation has been completed, and I'll just close this. So here is the sample project which we just have created. So here there is source folder. In here we'll be writing all the code, and there is test folder. And as usual in Node.js project, there will be package.json and package.log.json. And there is something like nest CLI which we'll be using, so you don't have to worry like much about like what are these files are and how we can use it. So before using anything, I just want you to go ahead and delete this particular file. Just delete it because we don't need it. So after that we can delete this particular folder also. So we are not dealing with any kind of testing related in this particular video, so we don't need it. And also if we go to nestcli.json, in this file just put one comma and here type generate options specs false. So this particular line is used for not generating the test file which we already deleted, else it will give us lots of trouble by creating extra folders for us. So anyways, once we have created generate options specs false, it won't give us any kind of problem. So we are not going to touch this particular file again. So in NestJS, there is something called as main.ts. It will be your entry point for your project. So this particular says that the project will be running on port 3000, and this is nothing but it will create one nest application and it will listen to this particular port and it will run entire function itself in the end. So all the technical things are already abstracted, so you don't have to worry about this file at all. Just understand that if you want to change the port for some reason, you can change the port in this particular line so that you can access it. After this particular file, if you see here, app module has been created. So we can directly go to app module here, app.module.ts, and here we can see like all the controllers and providers which are available. Don't worry much about controllers because we'll be learning it. It will just create one get hello route, and using this particular route, it will call the function which just returns a string hello world. So these four files are only files which are currently present, and it will be responsible for running the project. So we'll just run it. If you just go here and click on terminal, new terminal, you will be getting the terminal. And in this particular place, if you just write npm run start and colon dev, it will run the NestJS project and it will run it in watch mode so that whatever the changes which we make, it will be instantly updated. So we can directly go to another tab. I'll just close this. Just download Postman and VS Code if you haven't already. And once we close this, we can search for localhost 3000, which will just display hello world at the moment, because the only thing which is written in this particular service is hello world. If I change this to hello Manjunath and save it, immediately it won't be updated here because it's not live server. But if you click on reload, it will just display hello Manjunath. So once this is done, we are not going to use browser in this particular project because we already downloaded Postman. So after you install it, just open it up. If it asks for you to sign in, just go ahead and sign into it. And once you have done it, you can click on plus icon here and close this particular thing. And here if you just type localhost colon 3000 and send, it will display hello world. So in API project, we'll be using this only. So let me just make it a little bit bigger so that you can see everything properly. Once that's done, we can go ahead and I'll just show you how does everything works in this particular thing. So if you go to app module, here it's very simple because only app controller and app service are imported in this particular thing. You don't have to see this, you don't have to see something else like how at the module. All these things are decorators for this particular app module class. But you don't have to actually learn all those things in order to use NestJS because everything is abstracted. That's why unless and until we require something for doing it, we don't need to learn it. So at the moment, we'll just check about controller and app service. So app controller file is here. And in this get is already written, but we'll create another route so that you will be able to understand how does this particular NestJS actually works. So I'll just create at get and slash about And here, once this decorators has been written, you can directly type get about, and I'll just create one small function. If you want to use TypeScript, you can use it. If you don't want to use it, it's still fine. I'll just remove it so that you won't be again confused with TypeScript also. So we'll just use plain old JavaScript, and here get about is the function, and it will return what? It will just return about route, and I'll just save it. And if we go here and if we just type slash about and click on send request, it's going to show us about route. But in NestJS, we don't directly write it in about. We go to service page, and in this particular service page, we'll just create a get about, and here we'll be returning about from service. Now, if we just create it and save it and send here, it is not going to display because we haven't called this particular app service get about function in our controller. We can directly do it by just typing this dot app service dot get about, and once I save it and if you go here and click on send, about from service text has been visible for us from this particular app service. And usually we don't write something like string in this particular thing. We directly go ahead and send something like message, and the message will be this particular thing, so that when we see it in Postman, it will be in the JSON format. It should display it a little bit better way. Okay. So it displays a message about from service really clearly. So that's all about working of app service, app module, and app controller. So I'll just explain you once again. In main.ts, we create Nest application, and if you want to change the port, you can change it to maybe 5000 or something like that. I'm not going to change it. And in this particular page, Nest factory will create an app module. And if you go to app module, here you will see controllers and providers. What are those controllers and providers? App controller it is, which gets imported from app dot controller dot ts. Here we can create function which actually calls one service function here, that is get about, and here we can go and we can see that get about function, and here we are returning something using which we'll be able to see the final output here. So now you might say, like, in order to just get one text, we have to go ahead and work with the 2-3 files. The thing with this is, now it might seem for you that there are so many files, but when you are working with some big project or your project becomes a little bit bigger, that time you will feel so good, because if you want to edit something, you can directly go to app service and you can change it. You will not meddle with controller until and unless you want to create new route, or if you want to debug some problem related to route. So app module, it's nothing but we just import it and we just keep it like that only. And other than that, we won't be doing anything in this particular app module. So that's why you don't have to work with multiple files at all the times. Most of the time, you'll be just sitting in app.service.ts and you'll be writing all the things which you require. So now let's just stop this particular server by typing Control C. And once that particular thing has been stopped, we'll create one new module using which we'll be able to understand more about how does actually NestJS create things. So without delay, we'll just create one module now. Nest G stands for generator. And what do we want to generate? We want to generate new module. So once I type module, I can give the name to that particular module. In this case, we'll be creating one heroes module. So we can directly type heroes. And if I just type enter, it's going to create a folder named heroes, and it's going to create a heroes.module.ts. And if you notice here properly, it did one update in this particular app module. We'll just see what update it actually did. So heroes folder has been created, and inside heroes there is a heroes module also. And once I check this particular app.module, you can clearly see that it imported heroes module, and it imported it from heroes.module.ts file. That's the amazing thing about NestJS, that it creates the file for you by itself. We don't have to actually go ahead and type all these codes and all. So that's why NestJS is one of the best thing if you don't want to code many things. Of course, you have to code it, because without coding, how we can create lots of amazing things. So once I created this particular heroes module, we can create a controller. So how do we create one controller? We can create controller something like similar to this particular creating the module only. If I just type nest g controller, and we'll just create it inside a heroes folder only. So it's going to create a heroes controller, and if you notice properly, it updated heroes module also. You can guess now why it actually updated heroes module, but we'll just see heroes controller. It created one controller class with the heroes written on it, and if you see heroes module, it actually imported the controller which is required by this particular module. So it might seem confusing, but don't worry about it. Once we create service, you will be able to understand it even better way. So nest g service heroes. So I'll just type it, and it's going to create the service. So if you click here, it created service, and it updated a heroes module also, because in order to use that particular service inside the controller, we need to have it inside this particular heroes module. So in the controller, you can see heroes controller here, and here one important thing is you need to create constructor, and inside this particular constructor you can type heroes service, and it's the type of heroes service. So once you have written this much, it actually injects it. If you want, you can check it in this particular app service here, not app service, app controller here, where it said app service, and it called app service from this. We didn't write it private read only. We can write it by going to heroes controller, and I'll just write it, so that everything is safe and secure. That's why this private read only stands for. So once that's done, we can go ahead, as usual, we can get the heroes. So get heroes, and inside this particular thing, we'll be returning heroes, and it will be in the form of array. If you don't know JSON array, that's how JSON array looks like. And inside this particular thing, we can give name, and name of hero is obviously Iron Man, and here we can give real name, that would be Tony Stark, and we can also send some boolean also with it, is Avenger, that would be true. And you can create another hero name also if you want. I'll just create it fast. Batman, and here real name would be Bruce Wayne, and is Avenger is false, he is not Avenger. So it creates it in very simple way. So now in order to execute this particular thing inside here, so if I just go to heroes, it's not going to display anything because there is nothing to display, and also we haven't started our server. So we'll just start it. So once the server has been started, and if I send something here, it's saying that cannot get heroes because it's not present. In order to make sure this particular function is executed and it's visible in this particular place, here we can just type get, and when you do this, it's going to give a suggestion that import it. So I'll just click on it, and it imported get. If it didn't import it, just go ahead and import it from NestJS common. And here I'll just type slash, so that it will just import it from everything. You can write slash or you can even keep it empty. I'll just keep it empty. So now if I go ahead and send the request, it's going to display all the heroes in very nice manner. Okay. So that's how this particular thing works. And also, if you remember properly, we don't do something like this. We write everything inside the service. So we'll just create a get heroes and we'll just return whatever we wrote inside this particular controller. We don't need double return, one return with whatever the things which we wrote here. And inside the controller, we'll just return whatever the thing which we wrote here. That starts from this dot heroes service dot get heroes. And once we do this and click send here, it's going to display same thing because we haven't created anything different. And also, I'll just show you how we can get single heroes. For that, we can just go ahead and type get, and inside this particular get, we can just type name, and here we have to create a get single hero, and inside this particular function, we need to type at param, and it will also get imported from nest common. And here we can give this particular param same name as whatever the name which we have written here. So I'll just type name. If you type here ID, here also we have to type ID, and here we can type whatever the thing which we want to type. I'll just put it as ID, and once we write something like that, or I think I'll just keep it as name so that it will be fine. So in this particular place, if we just type return, and I'll just type it as a name so that we'll get some idea how does it look like. So I'll just click on plus here, and I'll just type localhost colon 3000 / heroes, and here we can type whatever we want to type. I'll just type Iron Man, and I'll send the request, and it's going to return whatever I'll write here. If I type Batman, it's going to send the Batman. So we'll just go ahead and create the service for this, and get heroes is here, and after that get single hero. And here one difference which I want to make is I want to give name of the hero here only, so that we'll be able to send the name to the user. So I'll just type return and message hero name is, and so I'll just use the template syntax. So if you just press tilde button, you will be able to do that. Tilde button is nothing but which is next to your tab button, meaning it is upside of tab button, and here also we want to write something like that only. So it's not a quotation, it's just tilde symbol. So hero name is, we can type a dollar, and inside this particular thing place, I'll just send name. Hero name is whatever the name which user have given. So I'll just save it and go to controllers, and here I'll just call this dot hero service dot get single hero, but it requires a name. So we'll just pass the name along with it, and I'll just save it. Now if I go here and send Batman, it's going to give us a nice message saying hero name is Batman. So this can actually be used for getting single hero. At the moment, we don't have any kind of database or something like that. Else I would have shown a really nice way how we can get single hero out of this. But we'll learn about it in upcoming video series. But at the moment, that's all for this particular video. And I hope you have enjoyed this particular video series. We haven't done really much in it, but I'm hoping that you understood how you can create some kind of a module here, and you can work with this. The one thing which I probably didn't mention is this particular thing is there, right? Heroes. it is the thing which controls this particular thing. So just like how in app controller we haven't wrote anything, if we didn't write anything, that means we can write whatever inside this particular thing. So if I just go here and type something like apple and save it, now if I go to just heroes, it's not going to display anything because there is nothing, but I can just type apple and it's going to display. So that's how this particular get works. I'll just remove it, and here also I'll just undo it and send it. That's how this particular controller thing works. So whatever we write in this particular decorator controller, it will take that particular URL in this particular place, and whatever we write inside this particular get will be displayed in this particular place. So once that's done, there are so many other things also. Get, it's not just get, there will be post, delete, and put and all. So we'll learn it in upcoming videos. So for now, that's it. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Of course, I'll do another video where I'll be teaching you how you can connect it to MongoDB and actually create CRUD functionality. This was just one simple crash course where you can just understand how does things actually work with the NestJS. Create some modules, just like how I created here heroes. Same way, create lots of other modules also. Maybe you want to create books or items or users. Create many things. I'll teach you how you can connect it with MongoDB in upcoming video. So that's it for this video, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.